Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our small footprint. It is my normal weekly catch-up, homesteading type catch-up that I normally do, a bit of a chat video. It has been raining for about the last 36 hours, so I didn't get a chance to do it until now because we've only just hit some clear weather now, though the skies still look a little bit ominous. We also had a fire come through the bush about 5 kilometres away on Friday night, so there was some warnings that we had to keep an eye on that as well. So it's been a bit of a busy weekend. I haven't got to it yet, so I'm getting to it now. What I'm also doing is, so we had about 20 mils of rain, which is great for the gardens. It's wonderful because I was going to have to water some stuff if we didn't get that actual rain, because we've had rain on the forecast, but we haven't actually got it the last couple of times, so really good to get it. So what I'm doing at the moment is I am still working on, I've been potting things up all week, my tomatoes and some flowers and things like that. I still have some tomatoes to pot up, but I'm running short on shelving until I rotate some of the plants in there out. So my zucchinis are all pretty much ready to go in the ground, but the garden isn't quite ready for them to go in the ground yet, so I'm just keep on potting them up as need be. I also just potted up my elderberry that I got. I hadn't realised how sad they were looking because they had been in pots that were far too small for them. They were getting a little bit root bound, so hopefully these nice big pots will they will perk back up. So I've just potted up the elderberry, and I need to pot up the tea plants, the Camellia sinensis as well, because I only potted them into fairly small pots and it's been much more of a delay to get them out in the garden. So it is groceries this week, and while I'm there I will go to Bunnings. We need a few more posts for the garden. I'll take you out and show you that in a moment. But what I'm doing right now, which is why I pulled the camera out, is I'm putting up my second Mr Stacky. So last year, anyone who was around would have seen that I got a Mr Stacky, and I actually got a second one from them for shipping only because I shared it and they enjoyed the video, and so they sent me a second one. I hadn't put it together yet because it had been a winter, so I hadn't bothered. So I am putting it together now. Mr Stacky is a little bit like the greenstalk planters in America, so it's a vertical planter. I'll turn you around and show you in a sec. But what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to fill it, and I'm going to move some of my strawberry runners into it, and hopefully we're getting a lot of red strawberries that are just being eaten before we get a chance to get to them. So I'm hoping that by putting them in the vertical planter, we might get an opportunity to eat more than the bugs are, but we'll see. It's a bit late to be transplanting these runners, so I'm a little concerned that I'm going to cause some issues with them by transplanting them at this time of the day. But I've just spotted a magpie that's just stolen some sort of a strip of food. I wonder if it came out of my kitchen. Anyway, interlude there. It wasn't a magpie either. Could be a currawong maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. We have a few of the black and white birds here that like we've got some crows and we've got some magpies and we've got some in-betweens, and I'm not much of a bird person, so I don't take all that much notice of which breeds are which, but interesting. Anyway, wonder where he stole that from, but you know, probably from something the children left out. Okay, so what I'm doing is strawberries. So it's a bit late in the season to be doing these strawberries. Normally I would have done them either at the end of last season or right at the beginning of spring, but they actually have strawberries on them, so I don't know how that's going to impact it, but there's too many for the bed, too many plants in the bed, and the bugs are eating them all, so I'm going to give it a go. So let me turn you around. I'll show you the Mr Stacky, and we'll see how we go. So this here is the Mr Stacky. So it has layers like that fit into each other, and this one comes with a base that's on wheels, which is handy. So each of the pieces that stack on, they go up a central pole, and they have drainage holes that drain into the ones underneath. So as you water the top, it waters the bottom. Now this one was purchased as a it was gifted basic from the company as the same specs as the one that I bought prior, which I bought a hydroponic one. So it came with a brick of core that I've soaked and I have to use, but because I'm going to use it on strawberries and I'm going to use it out here, I'm going to mix some nutrients and some soil in with the core, because I don't want to be hydroponically feeding it with fertilizer out here. That's more for an indoor sort of a, you know, in on the patio, whereas this is going to be out in the yard with the strawberries in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill each layer with a mix of the core, some potting soil and a bit of perlite, and then I am going to start putting strawberries in it. So I filled the bottom layer and then we just slide the next layer on. Just like that. And then we repeat the process until they're all full. Alright, so that's it. The 5 layers all done. So now I'm going to try digging up some strawberry plants and getting them to put in there. So the aim is to pull up plants like these ones on the edge here that are on the very edge of the bed, and they're coming off the ones down there. So running along the edge of the bed, the plants that are starting to come off. We will see how that goes. We have heaps of strawberries, plenty of flowers, but we're not getting to actually eat any of them, so it's a bit sad. So I'm just pulling out whatever I can, you know, taking nice and wide, nice root ball, things like that, and taking off the top. And then see, like, this is a strawberry that's gone pink and it's been chewed on already, so, and just placing them in. So there you go, got all the spots planted out with little strawberry plants. Some of them have fruit, some of them don't. We'll see how it works. Some of them have quite extensive fruit, but they were growing out the edge of the bed, so they needed to be removed anyway. So we will see how it does and I'll keep you informed. And the bed behind me doesn't look any different. It's still full of strawberries, so I'll give you a look at that too. Still full of strawberry plants and flowers, so, and there's still plenty on the little, right on the outskirts here that could be pulled up, so we might fill the other Mr Stacky as well. I haven't decided yet. Alright, so that's a task done that I've been meaning to get done. So then, now, let me show you what we've done with the greenhouse. So we've moved the greenhouse out to near the other solar structure. I'll turn you around in a sec. So that we could plug the seedling heat mats into the secondary solar array and leave them out all night. Now, the weather has still been a little bit fickle. We had a 3 degrees night the other night, but with the seed mats in there, everything seems to be doing well. So let me take you in there. All right, so we've got the secondary solar array. So we've got a little bit of a plug system set up here so that the heat mats can be plugged into here and then run through to the solar. And we've got this greenhouse set up at the moment. So let me unzip it. And give you a look inside now. It's going to fog up if I walk in there. So we have all the seedlings going at the moment. So some potted out into smaller, some potted up into bigger. We got the tomatoes still going. Everything is going well in here. Flowers, which take a while to come up until it was nice and warm. So we've got snapdragons there, which will be really nice. And the peppers aren't doing real well yet because we haven't had consistent enough heat. So I promise I still will come back to you about how I do my seedlings and stuff. I have got some footage already and I will get more. I just haven't got it set up in a way to share yet. I have a tendency to take bunches of footage and then not really know how to put it together into a video for you. So we're still getting there on that. The other update to show you is out here in the garden. again, let me turn you around. So we've got the netting almost done. So this is up above head height, runs all the way to that structure there, all the way across to both sides, and then joins to the marquee here that has shade cloth on it. So we managed to get that up. So then what we need to do is we just put some new poles in. So we've got a row of poles here that run down this row here that we only just put in. So we are going to run some wood across the top of them and then bring the netting to them, and that will bring it nice and taut there. And then it's going to come over, we're going to put shade cloth from those poles across our hoops here to these other poles here. So we just put this row of poles in as well, so that we can run the shade cloth and the netting, the shade cloth to these ones, and then from these ones the netting will go out across what will be the berry bushes and stuff. So still working on it. We did get some gates done, so we got the gate done on that side as well as the gate done on this side. So we've at least got the gates up now, and then just have to get the rest of the roofing done so that the keats can't get in, because they keep on destroying things. I actually put some spare zinnia seedlings that I had, because I planted a whole lot of zinnia seedlings. I've just pricked them out and put them into individual pots before I put them in the garden, and I had some surplus, and I put them in the end of the garlic bed in the garden yesterday or the day before, and I've just noticed that there's only one seedling left. So whether it's the keats, whether it's bugs, I don't know, but pest pressure this year I think is going to be quite high. I'm not looking forward to it. I get extraordinarily frustrated when there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I can do some natural sprays and things like that, but in the end pest pressure is not something that I can do a lot about. So what I tend to do is I tend to plant an abundance, far more than I actually need, in the hopes that we still get what we need out of what's there. But it's really hard at the beginning with the small seedlings, because they eat the entire seedling down and there's nothing left. If you were with me a couple of months back, I planted a whole bed of kale and cabbage seedlings, and I've got 3 cabbage that survived out of it, and maybe 4 kale plants, and that's it. The rest of them were eaten as seedlings, and so didn't have a chance to progress. My garlic has not done well this year. I doubt very much that I'll get much in the way of any sort of bulbs. Whatever I get I'll use, but the keats were chewing the leaves off as they came up out of the ground and were dust bathing in amongst it. So the only thing that's really doing fantastically well in this garden bed at the moment is the herbs. The rosemary, the lavender, the lemon balm, the marshmallow, the yarrow, all that sort of stuff has come back really well. And obviously they're either not particularly appealing to most of the pests or not very tasty, I don't know. But the lavender is covered in bees at the moment, which is great, because that means that they'll be hanging around for when we get the zucchinis in, because I normally hand pollinate all the zucchinis, and that's a big job. So I think that's mostly it for the updates today. I will come back tomorrow or the next day with some with a planning video to do with the groceries, because everyone likes to see that. And we're still just going to keep on working. So I need to do a stop off at Bunnings to grab a few bits and pieces to get this finished. It's not quite at a point where we can go any further at the moment. But we also put the poles in yesterday before the rain started, with the idea that the rain would help settle the poles a little bit. So they will sit in the ground for a couple of days before we do anything more with them. And then once we get this last bit of netting off, we can always block it off at this point here too, before it hits the berry patch, and then that way I can get all the gardens and everything in there done without worrying about the keats. It just means we don't have an access point here where the wood chips are. We'll figure it out, but anyway, we can sort of block this part off at these posts and then keep going with the rest of it, but still be able to get some of those plants in the garden. My zucchini plants definitely are. I've already potted them up twice, I think, from little tiny punnets to larger punnets, and now into little individual pots. So if I don't get them in the ground soon, they will start to stagnate a little bit. So we will see how we go, and I'll bring you along as we do it. So thank you for joining me for my little chat and update and strawberry planting today, and I will see you again on the next video. Bye guys.